All right, and we are live. Welcome to Film Geek Primer, episode 26, I believe. My name is Aaron. With me, as is usually the case, is Warren. Say hello,
Hello.
Warren. All right,
Here.
I'm experiencing a little bit of a delay, but we'll go back around. El Tremendo,
Good
an
evening,
intimidating pleasure as
brothers.
always to have
Good evening, Brothers
you. All
Graph.
right, so the brothers. That's right.
Oh yeah,
You're out graft.
there is a
Uh,
lag.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a lag, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm going to blame your guys' connection because I'm doing great. I hear me just
You
fine.
guys are fine.
So we were a little loose on topics today, but I think we'll start as I like to start by sort of going around the circle and talking about what we've been into this week and what we've been watching. I'm going to start with Warren.
This
Why don't you
week,
tell us what you can see?
what I've been doing, it's actually the same thing I've been doing for the past couple weeks. Is my son and I have been watching all the Marvel movies up to Avengers because he hadn't seen them, um, and he wanted to see them. He's getting into comic books. He's getting into superheroes. He's into Marvel. And he loved them all. He loved all the movies.
So what was his favorite?
Well, that's the thing. I was really surprised. Like, I asked him afterwards, like, "Okay, you've seen the first group of Marvel movies. What are your favorite movies?" And he said his favorites were The Incredible Hulk and also the Hulk in the Avengers. He just liked the Hulk in general, the character. He loved that whole
Wow.
thing. And the other one was Iron Man 2.
Okay.
But
All
the
right.
reason he liked Iron Man 2 is because he thought Whiplash was awesome. He loved Whiplash. He liked the idea of the whips and the electric whips, and so he thought.
Yeah,
I mean, he loved all
I've
of them.
noticed that with my kid.
He loved
Yeah, I've
Whiplash.
noticed that with my kid that merchandising can be very important to where he just sort of likes seeing the costumes and the colors and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Austin the same way?
Yeah. He's because he's also playing the that Lego Marvel game. We got that, and so he's like,
Great game.
yeah, he loves it, and he's playing because it's got so many characters in it and stuff like that. So yeah, when I asked him those movies, I was like, I didn't tell him that those are considered probably the weakest of all that first group of Marvel movies. Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk are really frowned upon. Like they've given high marks, but not as compared to the other movies. So um, I just thought that was I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, that's funny. So you also mentioned you were dipping into some Simpsons.
How could you not? It's on all the time. It's really sort of my go-to whenever I'm bored, or just it's background now. I was saying I think they should have a Simpsons channel. Like there should be just where they loop it. There's 500 episodes, right? You could have like every 2 weeks. You just have new, when a new season comes, they kind of stick it on the end and then put it into the circle and or the loop. And I mean, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you would have theme days. You would have like Christmas. You'd play all the Christmas ones over and over. I wouldn't even mind if it looped. Like when you think about some of these channels that you know you're going to see the same programming on over and over again. I think all Simpsons all the time for 12 straight days, 6 or 7 times a year is plenty. That would be a default channel for me.
yeah, it was.
Uh, Sorry, it's awkward with this lag, I think, and I don't know. I've had a long day. I'm off my game. It was parents' night. But El Tremendo,
Hey,
what have you been up to this week?
you know, I've seen nothing but Simpsons, and the only thing I'm going to share with you is the 3 latest additions to my Netflix Instant Watch queue. And these
Oh,
are
yeah.
2 movies I have not seen. And feel free to chime in if you have. I've never seen Sneakers.
What?
Yeah. Sneakers with Redford and Aykroyd.
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with it. I've seen it several times. It's fantastic.
I've never seen it. I think Shu liked it, and I think Santo liked it, but I've never gotten around to see it. So I just added it. I think it was a recent addition to Netflix Instant Watch.
It was
So
one of
that
my
is on my
like,
queue.
grown-up movies.
That was like, what, 98?
No, like
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, 92? Oh, my God.
yeah, I was gonna say early '90s.
Wow. So I guess
Yeah, it's very prescient.
pretty good caper film by the guy who did Field of Dreams. And the other
it's a
one,
strong movie.
the other one I haven't seen but keep hearing things about is Ravenous with Guy Pearce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the cannibal one.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know about that one. I'm so curious because one of the things in the ads was they played up almost like a sense of humor, or like almost like it was supposed to be campy, and I couldn't tell if the movie was earnest or tongue in cheek.
You know, it came out around the time, and I don't know if it came out on video or came in theaters around the time I watched Cannibal the Musical. The Trey Parker thing, the South Park guys.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of either confused the two or just picked one over the other, because I got that same sense. I thought it was going to be like a tongue-in-cheek, cannibal, so to speak, flick. But recently that's been written up in various, websites. People giving it a second watch, kind of reevaluating it. So I want to give that a watch. And I think the director passed away recently. So.
Add it to my list.
And the third one is Dear Mr. Watterson, the Calvin and Hobbes movie.
Oh yeah.
Documentary about.
I'm just afraid that one's gonna make me cry.
Yeah, I know it'll make me cry. Just thinking, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I haven't really watched much. My time's been sucked up by Simpsons and various other TV shit. So gotta get back on the movie shit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been mostly Simpsons. It's nice. I don't normally watch TV in the mornings anymore, and it's nice to wake up and just turn on the TV like instinctually, just because it's on the Simpsons channel, just to see what's on. So that's good.
Yeah.
The other thing I was doing, and I was going to talk about a little bit last week, is I watched like 4 more episodes of Firefly, which I'd never seen before. I'm catching up on all of this like geek cred I need to work on, and that show's really good.
Yeah, great.
So that's a message I want to send to the year 2002 when it would matter. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and watching The Simpsons, and then of course I saw Mad Max. I missed our big discussion. We had a little bit of a one before the show. It's a difficult movie, is the best I've gotten to at this point. I certainly felt, just throwing my sense on the record here, I certainly felt like I was hating the movie as I was watching it for long stretches. But it wasn't over very long before I started like almost immediately rethinking it. First of all, it was visually very striking. There was some great stuff, but I guess I was so expecting the Road Warrior that whatever. You guys talked it to death, and I still haven't seen the episode.
Well, I think everybody pretty much agreed that they liked it last week. I think Santo would be a good person to come in and you guys can go at it, dissect, the reasons why you didn't like it.
Yeah,
I think we all said that Road Warrior was better. I don't think anybody. I mean, Santo's the one that puts it up on a high pedestal. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good. I like it because it was such a low budget. They did so many things with it, as far as the stunts and the action and. And I thought a lot of the performances were really good. There were some performances that were just sort of but it just overall, I just thought for what it was, which, like you said, a student film, that shows that he can direct a movie. I thought it was good. That's how come I liked it.
It's very much a product of its time and its budget and its context and the pretty much the beginning of Australian filmmaking and how it exploded, internationally. So,
well, I really had the urge almost as soon as it was over to throw it on again. I'm going to be watching that movie again very soon. I have no doubt. I think that'll be a fun one to throw on at work.
Did the dubbing throw you off, like the original Australian dialogue?
No, not. I mean, what do you?
Because I had to put on the subtitles. Honestly, I did. Because I'd only seen the dub version. Yeah, I'd only seen the dubbed English version.
Oh no, I didn't have a problem. There was a problem with the sound mix, but I think it might have been the audio settings on my TV because we tweaked it afterwards. We were watching something else and we were like, this sound is horrible too, because the music cues seemed bombastic, overwhelming, amateurish. I don't know. Pick your adjective. It was difficult. when a music cue would kick in and you couldn't even hear what they were saying anymore. But it wasn't because of the accent. So.
Yeah, I don't think we touched upon that. The soundtrack is a little out there. It's a little overblown.
I actually didn't mind it. It was just mixed poorly, in my opinion. It was overwhelming the dialogue. The soundtrack itself wasn't. I didn't have a problem with it. But yeah, I need to see it again. But it's gonna be a minute because I got 2 videos that I added to my Netflix queue. I was trying to pull it up and find out what the third one was because I know I added something else recently. But I added the 1-2 punch of King Solomon's Mines and Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold.
Oh, that's funny. That was going to be one of my choices for Friday.
That was...
King Solomon's Mines was one of my choices.
I saw that and it was like an immediate 8 different levels of emotional reaction. Where I went from I was so disgusted and offended that they would put these stupid movies on there to bouncing in my seat and clapping with joy. Those
movies are. That's the first time I ever remember hearing that they filmed 2 movies at the same time. They filmed the Lord of the Rings at the same time and some of the other ones. They filmed those 2 movies at the same time.
Seriously?
Yeah, they filmed them together. They just assumed they were going to be a huge hit, and they filmed them.
Wow.
I distinctly remember watching Entertainment Tonight, them talking about it.
That's quite a 1983 memory you've got there.
I wish I need to. My hard drive just needs.
Was it Dixie Watley? Did Dixie Watley give you that?
I need to delete things. There's so much. That's what is that doing on there? Why is that there?
In Warren's brain DVR, he's got 8 watched episodes of Entertainment Tonight.
and I can't delete them. The button just why won't they delete? It says delete. They're still there.
Yeah.
I have nothing but Roger Ramjet cartoons in my DVR brain.
Yeah, I've got pretty much the only thing I think that's in my DVR brain is the episode of Bugs Bunny where he gets picked up by Rocco and Sam and he hides them in the oven, and then he has the whole single conversation with the Irish policeman, and he goes, "My friend Rocky, we're hiding in here. Would I turn on the gas?" And the policeman goes, "You might, Rabbit, you might." "My friend Rocky, we're in there. Would I throw a lit match in there?" And it goes, "All right, Rabbit, you convinced me. We'll look for him elsewhere." And he walks out.
See, I always say that's one of my go-to lines too. "You might, Rabbit, you might." I see that to Austin all the time. Would I do that? You might, Austin, you might.
It's almost as if you and I sat side by side watching the same Saturday morning cartoons.
Maybe fighting for pole position on the couch or on the floor.
All right, we can devolve into childhood memories.
You brought up King Solomon's Mine, not me.
I did. I can't wait. I hope I get the chance to watch the 2 of them back to back. I hope there's a busy day for everyone else at work and I can just blow everything off and watch 5 straight hours of movies that are not or barely worth watching in the first place. That'll feel like a good use of my time, I think.
That's every evening of my life.
Hey, Dub, you want to come to lunch? No, I'm cool. Good.
All right. What's next? So, Gabe, you were talking about sleeper hits. El Tremendo, you were talking about sleeper hits early on. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to come up with a topic, and I thought, well, it's August. And August is usually when traditionally, at least up until a few years ago, the kind of the dregs and the also rans kind of, get thrown up on the big screen. So I mean, I try to look for. I mean, the one that stands out in my mind is The Fugitive, which is a huge hit. I think it was released in August, late in the summer, and it just exploded. So I was looking for other films that may have been released in late August, the kind of dog days of summer, and see if they caught anybody by surprise. And I really didn't find any. But I do have a list of sleeper hits that were financially successful, and maybe we could run through them and kind of share our thoughts. If there's you know, was it? Yeah, it may have been a sleeper successfully, but was it a sleeper like in your mind when you first saw it? And also, I guess we could bring up any film that we may have heard of and was recommended and it totally caught us off guard and we ended up loving it.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about surprises too. So give us something off your list.
The first one on this list is Garden State, which is Zach Braff's first flick with Natalie Portman, and a lot has been written up about this film in light of his recent movie that came out. People are reevaluating it 10 years later. It was released in 2004. I caught it on video about 6 years ago. Honest to God, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember seeing it.
Well, where's some? Give us another one that you have a strong feeling about.
Well,
I'm the same way. I don't remember anything about that movie. Was so boring.
I never saw it because I never wanted to see it. Really,
I'll say in general, a film that all the kids loved when I was young was Flash Gordon, and it took me 20 years to love Flash Gordon because I saw it in the theater with everyone else, and I hated it. I thought it was stupid as hell. But it took a long time for me to really love it and really recognize it as a kind of a classic camp movie.
I would need to see it again. Warren, do you?
Yeah, I remember it, and I love it for the camp. I think I always thought it was like, I knew it was weird, and I knew it was like, it was just kind of different and strange. I mean, there were things about it that like stick out in my mind, like sticking their arms in the trees, stump and stuff, and just like the bad dialogue and stuff like that. But that's kind of why I liked it. It's sort of.
It took me a while to realize that, to recognize why it's great.
Well, I think it's difficult to like a movie for its camp value. I personally have a hard time doing that.
It depends on what your value of camp is.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It depends on how much you value it, because I don't value it very much. So a movie that's filled to the brim with it is it's just not the movie for me.
Oh, I enjoy it. I mean, at a certain point where I'm just like, okay, this is dumb, but they look like they're having a good time, and and I can sit there and enjoy it, and like I can find things funny about it and laugh about it, even if they're trying to be serious or whatever. There are certain things. Campiness can sometimes save a movie. If it's so bad, sometimes they have to kind of go the other way just to make it give it some sort of entertainment value.
Right.
Another movie off this list is one I actually liked. It was released in August in 2007. Is Superbad, and that went on to make about $110 million. I mean, it's classic Apatow.
Yeah.
And it's just of what he was trying to do with bringing back the raunchy comedy. This is maybe one of the movies at the top that kind of perfected whatever he was trying to do with bringing back the raunchy smart comedy.
Yeah, that was another one. That was written by Seth Rogen, right?
Yeah.
And then Apatow produced it. One of the things that is sort of the hallmark of the Apatow movie is how effective he can be creating an emotional arc for the characters as well, not just a series of gross out jokes, which is the Farrelly brothers, who were raunch comedy. Big raunch comedy names in their time in the 90s. They did that too with their biggest hit anyway, Something About Mary, and they tried to do it in other movies. But you find it in the Apatow movies a lot, where he's really trying to find the emotional core of it. And I caught the end of Superbad again just like 2 or 3 days ago, and it's a straight up love story between these two guys, and it even ends that way where they have to break up, and it's an incredibly tender sort of morning after moment that they share together, where it's super awkward, and it's like that movie Can't Hardly Wait that we were talking about before the show. It has this sort of bittersweet ending where these two people who were very much in love have to sort of, I don't know, move on with their lives. and it's a bit of a coming of age story, but it's played in the last like 5 minutes or so like a romantic comedy where they end up going off with girls, and it's the end of their adolescence. His movies always have a weight. They always have a weight to them. So that, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on Superbad. I don't know if it counts as a sleeper. I mean, I guess it made a ton of money, but the Apatow train was rolling pretty hard at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
40-Year-Old Virgin had already come out.
Yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin was the year before, and Knocked Up may have been a little bit after that, if not that summer.
Yeah, that's a good movie though.
No, I love Superbad. I think it's hilarious. It cracks me up.
Yeah, it was funny that I turned it on, and it wasn't like the funny part. It was like this really emotionally poignant part.
Huh.
All right, I love it. Give me another name off that list.
What's funny is that Mad Max is also a sleeper hit. List. Its budget was 400,000 Australian dollars. It made 99.8 million in Australian dollars, which in today's money it's about 94 million.
It's a lot of wallaby
dollars. Yeah, in North America it made $8 million, the equivalent of 25.2 million today. So
I could see that being an awesome big screen experience. If they re-released it, I might go see it.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things also. Like, all the driving sequences in that movie were really good. You know, considering they had no money and beat up cars and stuff. Like, that's what they
actually drive.
Yeah, everything was actual. There's no special effect.
And another thing that Santo touched upon is the car culture in Australia. You know, there's a lot of customized cars in the flick. That customized chopper with the dome that girl had.
Yeah,
and the one there back that.
Like the world's most. I remember seeing that in the movie and thinking, that's the least safe thing I've ever seen in my life. and then later in the movie, when they open up the back of their truck and they put their baby in that bucket, I was like, oh, you topped it. I am proven wrong. There is a less safe thing that you can do in this movie. It was good times, though. I just and the more I talk about it, the more I want to see it again. It's worming its way into me, and the reason I think Santo and I should have a little one-on-one is because he's been able to draw out my love of a film with an extended conversation sometimes. Sometimes I hang on to it, Stargate, but
I'll just tell you, shut up and watch it again.
Yeah, which I will. All right, let's talk about another sleeper.
Another one on this list, Sci-Fi District 9, came out in August of 2009. Budget at $30 million, and it went on to make $210 million.
Oh, I didn't know it made that much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How could they not get a sequel going then? What happened?
I think he went on and he wanted to do other things. You know, the director, I forget his name.
He was going to direct.
He did Elysium last year.
Yeah, he did Elysium. He was going to direct the Halo movie for a while. His name was associated with that.
Yeah, I knew he got dicked around by Microsoft because they were going for it. They weren't going for it. They were doing. They had. I always remember this when I was reading Variety every day. They had this publicity stunt they did where they delivered the finished script for the Halo movie to the agency, like CAA at the time, in a guy in a full Master Chief suit. And they released a picture of him holding the script like under his arm, sitting in the waiting room at CAA.
And he got sniped.
And then, and yada, 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 it's been 20 years. Or however long.
That is so weird. How do you fuck up something like that?
I don't know, but it seems like there's a pair of fuck ups there in the, and I don't lay them at Blomkamp's feet because he just sort of got caught up where he was attached to a project that just didn't pan out, and then maybe it had been too late, or he hadn't done enough preparatory work on a District 9 sequel, and then again maybe he doesn't want to make one. Although it seems like baked into the whole storyline of the movie was this 3-year gap. But I don't know. The movie stands okay. So but now that's a movie that surprised me because I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be as amazing as it was.
Yeah.
Just the best kind of tradition of sci-fi in almost the, and I think I brought him up before on the podcast, in almost the Rod Serling mode. where it's the core story it's telling is a parable about humanity. It's saying something about humanity, and then it's got just this great character arc. Actually, was it? I think I was talking to Warren, giving his best Ricky Gervais hunched over there. That was creepy.
Sorry, too many chins, huh?
But back to District 9. So it's got this great, meaningful, substantive story about saying something about humanity and how we treat each other. But I also say that it's the best video game movie, not based on any existing video game. And the reason I always say that is because I think the movie has such fantastic escalation in the way it doles out its sci-fi. So you start, the movie starts mostly in an office, right? In this sort of bureaucrat's office that, what's his name? He's got a tough name to say too.
Charlo Copley.
Charlo Copley is in, and it escalates in terms of, you see the aliens, but first he has the hand, then, just like in a video game, he gets newer and better and more powerful weapons to play with, and then finally he gets, machines to move around in.
And a mech.
And then he gets ships. It's got the video game escalation in terms of its props.
He does power up.
He does absolutely power up. Does he eat mushrooms in that, or am I thinking of a different movie?
He hits blocks with his head and gets
Yes,
coins.
that's the one. He hits blocks with his head. He gathered a lot of coins though, so yeah. I think he got an extra life. We'll see.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing about it is it demonstrates how Transformer-like special effects can work if you got a good story and a competent director, or a director who actually wants to tell a story. Because the effects really reminded me of the texture of the.
Guys, you have to give me a minute.
The Transformer things. So Warren.
So no, but I know what you're talking about. Effects in that movie were they didn't overshadow it. It wasn't you were more interested in the story and what's happening to him and all that stuff. And some of the main characters are aliens who don't even speak the language, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. It was good. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies because
absolutely.
It's fully grounded in reality.
It kind of started that whole the trend of smart science fiction movies oh shoot, I'm blanking out.
Sorry about that. Nightmares.
Aaron, we're just talking about how District 9 kind of started that trend of smart science fiction flicks that we get maybe 2 or 3 a year since then.
Well, I wish it would. I wish it had more of an impact in that front. You were talking about
like Source Code.
Oh yeah.
And the other one with Matt Damon and Emily Blunt that I'm blanking on.
Elysium?
No. The Something Bureau. Guys.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Adjustment Bureau or something like that.
Adjustment Bureau, yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it have a bigger impact, frankly, because you're absolutely right. It had great special effects work. And it was used in a very character narrative. It was used to service the story very well. It
wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, it wasn't overwhelming, and it never felt gratuitous. And yet, at the same time, it was jaw-droppingly cool. Like when he goes into I know it's just a ripoff of the Aliens power loader thing, but when he gets into that metal suit at the end, the film becomes so exhilarating. Because his emotional state is tied in with this particular struggle, and he's doing it for reasons both selfish and yet accidentally altruistic. So you're really sort of rooting for him in this and against him in this really complicated way. It's so well put together.
When he grabs that missile, that's one of the best things.
Yes.
You're just like, oh my god, this is the best.
Yeah, it's got those moments. And I think I talked about this early on. I was thinking about this movie earlier today because it was streaming on PlayStation Network as The Raid 2. And I was saying it's filled with so many just like, you know, yeah, awesome moments that you want to just high five the guy next to you in the theater. And that was it. When he reaches and grabs that missile, you were like, yeah! And you want to chest bump the guy next to you. And be like, that is awesome movie making. But that doesn't happen in the transfer. It didn't happen anyway in like this most recent Transformers movie, where it was some
Not even a little bit.
So it did a little bit.
I think I high fived while credits came over.
Yes.
It was over.
The greatest thing it had going for it was finite. That's your movie's greatest quality, is that it is finite.
Yeah.
But yeah, District 9 totally surprised me. I thought it was going to be good. I thought it was going to be fun, but it ended up being, one of those movies that transcends its genre, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, it became sort of a modern day classic, especially for a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, what sci-fi is coming out to look forward to? What's the next Marvel movie? All I know is Captain 3 in 20. This is like a year.
Avengers. I think Avengers 2 is the next one.
No, Avengers 2 is next summer, but I think Captain America 3 sneaks in there before that.
Yeah, I think Captain America 3 comes in before that. Maybe Ant-Man, but they're still filming that.
I can't pull up. My internet's not working.
Now, Captain America is 2016, I think.
Yeah, and Ant-Man's not going to stop, is it? They're gonna make that movie whether they have a director or not. Are you looking up the release date?
Yeah. What, Ant-Man 3? They have a director.
Yeah, Ant-Man.
Captain America 3 is 2016, the same year as Batman Superman.
Huh. Well, because
literally the next one is Avengers.
Oh wow. Okay. So there's no Marvel movie between now and the Avengers next summer?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Well, that's
Ant-Man is after Avengers 2.
Yeah, but then I think Ant-Man is like the end of Phase 2.
Hey, I can't pull up my internet right now, but I think there's people commenting. Can you guys see anywhere?
Oh, you mean we have to like watch the show?
Yeah, I can't. We've got one viewer.
How do you do that?
God.
I don't even know how to do it.
I don't know. I'm looking. Control room. Let's see. Hangout. Oh, yes. Here it is in the Hangout. All right. We got big fans of Flash Gordon. Let's see here. Oh, looks like Mr. Santo. And it's Jay Santo. No, that's too obvious. Call it John S.
Yes. Nobody will know.
And a little lady I know in a biblical sense. Let's see. Flash Gordon. Like a sleeve shit. I want to come back and see what John has to say in like 12 characters or less about my Mad Max feeling.
You're a failure.
12 characters or less. Go yourself.
Yeah, right. I don't think that's physiologically possible. No. All right. Well, our fans are watching, so we got to watch what we say now.
Technically, there are co-workers too.
I love you.
But not right now. Right now, they're not co-working with us.
But now they're more angry at us.
Yeah, probably. Santa throws out Napoleon Dynamite as an example of a sleeper hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think your Napoleon Dynamite's your big fat Greek wet eye, which is the plural.
Yeah. Let me pose this question to you. If you had a choice between either watching or rewatching the following two films, which one would it be? These are also sleepers.
All right.
Blair Witch Project or Paranormal Activity?
Warren, let's go to you first.
I never saw Paranormal Activity.
No?
And then once they started churning out the sequels, I didn't really want to see it. I guess I got kind of sick of those like found footage horror movies. But I guess to answer the question, maybe Blair Witch, just to see how I feel about it now versus when I saw it, 15 years ago or whenever it came out.
I'd probably have to go with Paranormal Activity, though. I'm not really a scary movie guy. It's mainly because I'm a coward, Is that the word I'm looking for? Yellow-bellied.
What's the word I'm looking for? Pussy?
Sad.
Was pussy? That's the word. That's the word. I knew there was. It was. I knew it was right on the tip of my tongue.
You're gonna give me kids nightmares.
This show just got a little blue.
Now, I think I saw that one actually here in LA when it was released. We saw it about a week before it was released at a screening at a Fangoria convention, which is the horror convention in Pasadena. And I saw it with our good friend Mike and Shu. And we're at the convention all day, and we're walking around the dealers' tables and the panels and stuff, and everyone was talking about this movie. Everyone was so excited. You know, it was just the buzz in the air was like the only thing people were talking about. And we saw it with a very enthusiastic audience. I mean, we had people cheering at just, you know, bizarre moments in the film because nothing really happens. It's a bunch of people walking in the woods and yelling at each other. And there was a standing ovation afterwards, and I just remember the three of us just looking at each other saying, "What just happened? What did we just watch?" And I haven't seen it since, but I'd probably be interested to see it again and see if it still
I
has.
saw it that one time when I saw it in the theater. That was the only time I've ever seen it.
I saw it with Santo. I remember that, and I remember like 2 weeks later we were going camping together. Or no, I was going camping with you, Warren, wasn't I? And we we made little stick men. We did the whole thing. But if I had to say, I'd probably
camping.
Well, we still had to camp even if we were just having gay sex outdoors. The thing about Blair Witch, though, was that it was like a poem about horror. Like it didn't really have a plot and not much happened. It was just a sense of scary through the whole thing. Not that I'm an aficionado, being a pussy. But I'd be curious to see Paranormal Activity because when something is,
it does the same thing. Paranormal Activity does the same thing that Blair Witch does. There are moments where the camera is kind of hinting that there's something going on in the background or that there's something's about to happen. Same thing happens in Paranormal Activity. You get this moment that, oh, well, is this the part we're going to see a trick shot? Is the ghost going to appear in the background? Is that meat cleaver going to move, or is that rolling thing going to move? And nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. Well, so the two are very similar in that kind of.
Well, that actually makes it sound more appealing to me, and in some ways scarier. I think the moment you start having to show the thing, and the moment you have to start explaining yourself, is the moment you start losing me, especially in a horror movie or one that has some sort of the supernatural.
There's a fine line between that and just fucking with you, because they set it up.
It is.
There's some conscious movie camera movements that kind of hint, like, oh, hey, something scary is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then nothing happens.
When they telegraph it.
That's fine if you do it once or twice, but throughout the whole film, it gets really just meaningless.
What was the movie with? Oh man, was it? It was just came out within the last year or two. Maybe called Sinister with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
These things in pictures. Is that the same one?
Yeah, probably.
So in that one, in the preview, I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of spooky. Like there's spooky stuff, and the thing moves, and all of that stuff. And then he's talking to someone who says, oh no, you've been infected by the spirit of Bagul. Or something like that. And I was like, you've already named it, like you've already given it a stupid name in the trailer. Like the whole mystery is spoiled, and while I'm sure the movie will still elicit scares from me, the idea that I'm being scared by Bagul is it automatically sounds ridiculous. And I remember thinking at the same time, I was like, that's something you do after the post credits, right? Like when everything's fine and he's there next to the burned down house, right? And the ambulance has got the blanket around him, and there's like the professor and the priest standing next to him. They were like, turns out his name was Bagul, and he was haunting people for hundreds of years. But you've already been through the whole movie. Like the scary stuff's already happened. You don't give him a name ahead of time and then do it. Now,
Well, like, you gotta prepare yourself for the Bagul movie. No one calls it Sinister. Everyone calls it the Bagul movie.
Then you have Bugpool 2, Electric Boogaloo.
well, and that's I want like, the next one to be called like Bagulin Friends.
The movie Bagulies.
I want to see a movie where it starts off next to the burned out house and he's got the blanket wrapped around him. Just start there.
But don't you know it's that ending, it's going to be okay after major supernatural catastrophe moment?
All you need is this Salvation Army blanket.
Those gray Salvation Army blankets. And of course, for some reason in my mind, there's both an academic professor puffing a pipe and a priest, right? Those two guys side by side with our protagonist fighting evil.
Professor, would this be a time to planet?
That cliche stems from Psycho, because that's how Psycho sort of ended, with like the doctor explaining everything at the end.
Yes, that's exactly right. Think how bad Psycho would be if that was the opening scene, or if that was the scene in the trailer for the movie.
That's a great point.
Major marketing fail.
Well, I mean, but okay, take it a step further. Think at that means how big of a genius was Alfred Hitchcock when he was the one that told theaters not to let people in once the movie started. You know, he didn't tell anything about that movie.
There is a lot that makes Alfred Hitchcock look good when you compare him to Sinister.
Yes, I guess that's true.
But that's just to heap a little bit more praise on Alfred Hitchcock. That's part of why that move was so brilliant. Was because not only is he not going to explain crap until the very end of the movie, but he's going to start his movie as some sort of weird crime heist caper movie. Like if you catch the first 5 minutes of that movie, you aren't like, I see where this is going. Like this isn't
exactly.
This isn't a couple that has met cute and now needs to fall in love. That's a weird intro. You don't want people walking in and out of that movie. And final note, I'm sorry, I've got to add this on Bagul. Talk about those little things that stick in our brain. There was a little video game back in the day called the Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. And in it, in order
Sounds familiar?
Sounds familiar? Have you, El Tremendo, are you familiar with this particular game?
I think so, yep.
Now, in it, in order to cross a particular bridge, you had to find this guy named, I'm pretty sure it was Bagul. And so, many years later, to hear that he's got a second wind in his career as the villain in Photographs in the movie Sinister, it was encouraging that, yes, there are second acts in American stories.
That was the bonus level in Adventures of Link, was that he possesses Link
and haunts photos
and has him see all things in pictures and stuff.
Yes. I would play that game. Probably for the record, it would have been a better received sequel than The Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
Yes.
That's for a different podcast. Let's see what our comment says. Some of our commenters are actually comparing the Blair Witch Project to a modern-day camp story, where you would sit around the campfire and tell a long, elaborate tale of tension and intrigue, only to
fall asleep.
I can see that because you want the boat to be over and you just want to go to bed. You're probably very uncomfortable. There's mosquitoes.
So you guys are perfectly fine making fun of our commenters, right? That's something you're comfortable doing.
Yes. I feel good about that.
All right, I'm along with you. They're mostly stupid. One of them brought up laser rot. What the hell is that?
Laser rot. It's just a made-up thing.
Laser rot?
You never commented on my my Laserdisc picture. I posted on Twitter.
I thought I had.
No, I don't think you did.
Oh man, I apologize. It was. It looked like. I remember what happened with that Laserdisc picture, and if someone could pull it up and do a screen share while I ramble for a bit, that would be helpful. If I remember correctly, it looked like one of those forced perspective things where maybe you had taken a CD player, opened it up, and put it closer to the camera, right? So like my hand isn't bigger than my head, but if you just set it up right, it looks like it could.
Where'd you post it?
The problem is I couldn't fit all of that on a tweet.
Post it on Twitter or
Yeah, let's see if I can pull this up here. Just one exciting moment while I search Twitter for Warren's photos. All right, here it is. Let's do a little screen share here. And there. All right. So what you see there is your friend and mine. Looks like it could be a Laserdisc player game. Not gonna rule it out.
Hey, I have one of those.
Yeah, I noticed. And the other thing that's I have to admit is probably the most disturbing part of this photo is if I don't know if you can see where my mouse is. If you can look along up here, right along the top of the Laserdisc Laserdisc player, it does not look dusty. Which means to say that this is probably a Laserdisc player that has seen some use recently, which is a little upsetting.
Actually, no, it hasn't. I had to plug it back in.
I got a CBS pressing of Dr. No in my car trunk I can send you.
Wait,
Really?
in your car trunk?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was visiting Shu, we found it in his closet. He said I could keep it, and it's been in my trunk for about 7 months.
You need to take a picture of that, and then we need to get your picture together with Warren's picture, and then I guess we could watch.
If you send it to me, I'll watch it. I'll just watch it and see how it goes.
It might be, pretty rough shape, though.
You know, I have a box of Laserdiscs that actually I think Santo gave me a long time ago. Or maybe it was John Smith.
I still have mine. I still have my Laserdisc. I still have my Laserdisc player.
All right, homework. You both have to watch a Laserdisc.
I have to go to my Laserdiscs.
No, first one, top of the box. First drag you see in there. Just open that random box of Laserdiscs and be like, all right, it's you and me now, Legend of Bagger
my
fans.
God.
No, I don't have anything that new. They were actually the ones. Actually, what I have, a lot of them are actually pretty good. The ones that I remember having, it's like Blade Runner. I want to say like maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I have Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Ooh.
Last Crusade.
Eh.
Dawn of the Dead.
I think I have Brazil.
Oh, that's right. You do have Brazil.
I think
That
do.
was the last and maybe only Laserdisc I ever watched was Brazil at your place.
Yeah.
I have a copy of Citizen Kane like on 5 discs.
On 5 Laserdiscs?
5 Laserdiscs. I had to get it 5 times.
I haven't watched a Laserdisc in a while, but I do remember that when you get to the end of the Laserdisc, there's like a pause while the laser, or at least on mine, the laser goes over the other side. It doesn't flip it, obviously. It can't do that.
Oh, I couldn't afford one of those. I had to actually get up and manually turn it over.
Mine, actually, the laser moves and goes into. I don't think I would have spent too much money. I wanted a Laserdisc player.
That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, spending money on something like that? No, I just wanted the Laserdisc player.
Well, that's the story when I bought. When I got like my first legit job and I got my first paycheck and I went and bought a DVD player and a car radio, and I remember I went into Best Buy to get the DVD player, and that was a summer that I won't tell the whole story, but I went to the DVDs and I went to the cheapest one, and I went to the next cheapest one because I'm not cheap. That DVD player has lasted me coming up on 20 years.
I've got you know what? I still use my original DVD player. I got it like open box at it was and I think Todd Stein told me about it. Like he said they're having a sale, they're having open box sales at it was a store in San Rafael. It was like Whole Earth Access or something like that was the name of it. I think that was the name of the store.
That's a weird. Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar, but.
And it was like $100. Or it was like $99, which back then was super cheap because DVD players in like the late '90s they were a few $100.
Yeah.
My first DVD player was my PS2, which I then gave to my nephew, and he still plays it today, so it's still working.
That was a lot of people's first introduction to the DVD player. That console sold like 150 million units worldwide, which is still this extraordinary number. And they say one of the main reasons was it was a DVD player. Like that was a huge part of why it was successful, and that's why they worked so hard to get a Blu-ray player in the PS3.
Right. That's what it's a lot of people's Blu-rays, the PS3.
My Blu-ray. I should have a video
There
game podcast.
you go. It's sort of the
All
same.
right, so we're wrapping up this highly focused episode of Film Geek Primer. Focused like a laser.
Call this one the
Promise next
mismatch.
week we'll do some
I think this is the sleeper episode of all the Film Geek
Yeah.
Primer lives we've done.
I agree.
This one's gonna
Comes in
surprise
late
you.
August.
This one's going to surprise you
I don't think it
and
will.
put you to sleep.
Yeah. So let's look ahead to the week. I'm going to start. I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to start with Warren. Find out what's on the geek agenda for the week.
Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow or whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's on my agenda. Probably more Simpsons. Because I stopped watching The Simpsons, early 2000s somewhere where I just sort of gave up. I was like, okay. So,
Ooh, you're a little tinny.
Hello?
You're losing your signal. Yeah, we're all
can you hear
we're all
me now?
definitely going to be watching Sky Captain and Simpsons. That is our burden. That is our curse.
And then Austin and I'll probably watch Iron Man 3 sometime.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Watch the cartoons. Do you guys watch the cartoons, Warren?
Actually, yeah, Austin has been watching the cartoons. And I'm going to start watching them too because I caught a couple of them. I was like, hey, those are pretty good.
Both Avengers series have been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched the first one and we just started watching the second one. I really liked the first one, and one of the things I absolutely loved about it, and you see it a little bit in the movies, but they don't quite have the balls to go this far with it yet. I think Avengers 2 will, where I love that the cartoons end on these insane twists. There were several episodes, like long-term, like the Ultron series, that just kept escalating at the end of every episode of the 4-part episode, and then you get to the end, and you're like, oh, they defeated it, and they go home. I don't know if it was the Ultron one. But then, at the end of it, Captain America peels off his face, and oh my God, he's been an alien this whole time! There's these crazy twists.
Yeah.
And the cartoon did that so well. I love that. But yeah, we just started Avengers Assemble. Is that one as good?
It's pretty good. It's not as good as Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but it's pretty good.
And Warren, have you seen Avengers Assemble yet?
No, I haven't watched any of them. I don't even remember which episodes or what. We were just. He was watching it, and I sat down and watched it with him, and I was like, hey, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I recommend
it. That first series did a good job of recapping the major big events of the last maybe 10, 15 years. Age of Ultron, big event, and the Skrull War and all that stuff. And then they go back and they do the classic stories, the classic adventure stories, like the Korvac saga and all that stuff. So it's very faithful to the spirit of the comic.
Yeah, I'm having a much harder time getting into Justice League, and it's a very simple reason, and that's I hate Batman and aliens together. It's a combination that it's like hearing his name is Bagul. For some reason, it's like the thing that's like the twist where I'm like, oh, now it's stupid. Batman.
Are you talking about the cartoons?
Well, I hate and again, this is ridiculous talking this way about cartoons, but I hate when the Man of Steel, the alien from Krypton, Superman, and human being Batman are both thrown with the same force against a wall of stone, and they both just go, oof, they have the same reaction. No. If it makes Superman go oof, it would crush everything in Batman. All right.
The comics don't do that, though. The comics don't do that, which is, for the most part.
The comic books don't do that with Batman?
If you read Grant Morrison Justice League stuff.
Oh, see, I would love that. So something that really hobbles Batman.
Yeah, well, in some of them, sometimes he saves the day, sometimes he figures out, sometimes there's in some of them where he pisses, he gets kicked out of the Justice League in some of them. I mean, because he's still super smart. He's the detective, right? So
yes,
that's his skill. He is good at figuring things out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
I'm actually more upset with like Martian Manhunter because he's basically Superman. You know, it's the same guy.
yeah. Well, no, he can float through stuff. That's kind of awesome. But yeah, I didn't find myself getting as into Justice League as I had hoped. And I tried.
Aaron, we need to do an exchange sometime. I got the first 6 volumes of Grant Morrison's run on Justice League.
Oh, and I can trade you with my nothing. No, I need to get. I got a bunch of.
Well, not until you finish Dead Space. So.
No, it's too scary.
What?
Now you're anything I said about scary games, scary movies. Scary games are the same way. They're even worse. Games are a far more intense medium than movies are.
Well, we can do a game.
No, we do need to trade back. Here's the problem, though. I really, really want to play Grand Theft Auto 5, but I want to beat at least one of the games you gave me, and I think that game is going to have to be Lego Batman 2. So I'm working real hard to get 100% on that before I trade it back.
Okay.
Shoot, what was I just going to say? Oh, I've got a list of comics I want to get into now, and the Court of Owls seems to be the consensus of the Batman I need to buy.
Yeah.
So I got
the Hawkeye series is pretty damn good.
The new Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
The Batgirl series is also pretty good.
What is the what's that Superman? It's not called.
Grounded.
No. The gist of it is basically he's dying because Lex Luthor put all the energy of the sun into him and his body can't process it. So he's like, what's it called?
It's called All American Superman.
Yeah, All American Superman.
Yeah.
That's a great.
All Star
Superman. Yeah, Superman. It's like a two trade book set, and it's
they
like
adapted it in a movie, but it's not as good as the comic.
Like a cartoon, yeah. No, the book's usually better, but that's a great Superman to read.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because I read. I don't know if you saw what I posted on my Facebook, but it was Superman talking some woman off of a ledge, right?
Right.
Jump. And
It
was so good, and it was so well written. And then I did a little research on it and found out the storyline to Superman Grounded, and I felt like that's an interesting one too. That's one I think I'm going to look into. But I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I went to a bookstore and I'm walking around the comic section, and I just had no idea what to get, and I felt really bad. So I put out the call on my Facebook, and I got a lot of suggestions back. But the Court of Owls came at me from a couple of different areas, so I think that's one I need to get. Just want some.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Superman is good. I like what's it called? Anything by to me Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
I think anything by him is really good. Shoot.
One series right now that I want to get into is called The Multiversity, and it's written by Grant Morrison. It's taken him like 20 years to write it. And it's basically exploring all the parallel worlds, all the different versions of, the heroes and the worlds on different dimensions and universes. And I guess each 6 or 12 issue run is a single story set in that parallel universe.
Yeah, no, Grant Morrison.
Grant
Morrison can be like amazingly brilliant, or sometimes like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So, you kind of jump into it going, okay, this is either going to be amazing, or I'm going to be totally lost and not know what he's talking about.
He's a poor, in many ways, he's kind of a poor man's Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Which I think is still a really good compliment,
Yeah.
Alan Moore is just way out there, and but Grant Morrison is a great writer, but he's still very second rate when you compare him to Alan Moore, but he tries to do the same kind of things about that Alan Moore attempted to do, but didn't have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, I think you can still be great and not be Alan Moore, but that's just me.
Yeah. So So for the Warren Ellis that I think you should read, The Authority.
Tweet him at me. I'm gonna forget.
I'll tweet him to you. Authority, Planetary, Global Frequency.
Uh huh.
And then there's There's another one that I can't seem to find the name of. That it was like couples. It was just like short runs of something. But I'll tweet those to you too.
All right. I realized I think we got a little off track here. El Tremendo, what's looking ahead in your Geek Week?
Well, I didn't see Sin City this past week as long with the rest of the country, so I'll probably hit up a double feature of Expendables 3 and Sin City.
I'm hearing terrible things.
Yeah.
I really like the first one. I'm going to just leave my memories be.
Yeah, it's
I think
unnecessary.
the spirit really killed that, whatever they're trying to do with that. The spirit's just awful. I think if anyone destroyed that franchise, it was Frank Miller himself.
Well, the other thing is, I don't. This is a weird thing to bring up. What was the last Robert Rodriguez movie any of you saw?
Machete 2.
Yeah, I saw Machete too.
Yeah, how was that?
I enjoyed it. I mean,
I didn't like it.
Mel Gibson was a luchador, evil luchador. How can you not like that?
Yeah, I like the first Machete because I felt like it was like in the spirit of like what they were trying to do with the movie, and then the second one I just felt like tried way too hard. It lost me.
So I saw Spy Kids 4 recently, and I'm wondering if Robert Rodriguez is losing something. He had a real talent for what I would just sort of describe as entertaining. Like he really could just sort of keep you along for the ride, and even the kid stuff he did, even the first like 1 or 2 Spy Kids movies, they're pretty good. But Spy Kids 4 is so bad at like a fundamental level that it makes me wonder about his filmmaking skills.
Austin really likes all those Spy Kids movies.
Yeah, my kids do too, but they have terrible taste. They all have terrible taste. I feel like we started this conversation establishing that our children have terrible taste.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but the Spy Kids 4 movie in particular is particularly bad. And while none of these movies are great works of art, they were at least solid productions. You know, they had fairly coherent plots, and you could follow what was happening, and it made some level of sense. But Spy Kids 4 is so out there that like I say, it makes me worry about his filmmaking skills. And hearing what I'm hearing about Sin City 2, I'm wondering if he's either waning or losing his way in the best possible scenario. But I don't know.
I think it might have. I mean, this is like I don't know. I've always been a big Robert Rodriguez fan. I've always loved him.
Yeah,
one
me
of my
too.
favorite things is if you watch the El Mariachi DVD and even the Desperado DVD, the director's commentary on that. Just listen to him. It's like guerrilla filmmaking 101. Just listening to him talk about how he did all these things. It's like he knew what he was doing. I think part of
telling a solid story.
What?
And he was telling a solid and coherent story most of the time, even if it wasn't the most complicated story in the world.
Right.
It was still filmmaking. You know, it was cinema. He was visually telling the story.
Right. I think though at this point, I think that he owns everything that he does. He owns it. He I don't know if he does studio stuff anymore because he puts the directing stuff. I feel like, and he's rich. I mean, he's made so much money. You know, he might be in one of those like George Lucas sort of realms where there's nobody around to kind of like, you know, keep him in check. He just sort of like does what he wants to do, and you know, and I think maybe filmmakers kind of in some ways they almost need the suits in the studios to kind of like say, hey, listen, you know, what are you doing?
Well, yeah. Go on.
Oh, I just think as far as creating an industry for himself, I think that's where his skills lied. You know, as much as I don't know whatever kind of vision that the Spy Kids he had in mind, other than creating this kid franchise, he did a really good job of that. I think he's better at being a businessman and maybe better as a producer than an actual filmmaker, because I've never really been a big fan of his actual filmmaking. Not even From Dusk Till Dawn did much for me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was okay. You know, Salma Hayek, I mean, you can't beat that. But other than that, you know, I'm not really. I think what he's done in the El Rey Network's pretty cool. I mean, he bought the Shaw Brothers library. He has that filmmaker to filmmaker talk show, which is really solid TV show, and we'll see where it goes from there.
All right. Let's see. What do I have ahead on my week? Yeah, I guess it's a Sky Captain and Simpsons kind of week. I'd like to get another Firefly in there, and I'm starting to lose the thread of Attack on Titan. I need to get back into that.
Yeah, you know what? I sort of stopped watching it too for some reason. I just haven't had the time. I have like maybe 5 more episodes to go, or 6 more. Episodes.
How many episodes is that?
There's like
Is it still going?
20.
Well, the whole thing is on Netflix, and so that's where I was watching it.
That's what I was watching too.
Is it done?
I think so.
Yeah, the series, I believe so.
Okay.
But I'd like to get into that. But who am I kidding? I'm gonna watch Alan Quartermain in the Lost City of Gold. I don't know who I'm trying to fool. Put on ears like I'm a big man. No. You and me, Alan Quartermain. All right.
Okay, Richard Chamberlain, you and I have got a date.
All right. So Warren, where can people find you? Should they care?
If be they so inclined, they can go to @WarrenGraff.
All right. El Tremendo, even though it's written twice on your lower third, can you tell us where to find you?
El Tremendo and eltremendo3000.com.
All right. I am Aaron Graff. You can reach me at Film Geek Dub. No one watching this doesn't know who we are.
I have to take this off right now.
There's no. All right, you can reach me at Film Geek Dub, where maybe once or twice a month I will retweet something someone else has tweeted.
Yeah, most people watching have our phone numbers and email. Let's
might as well. You know something? You should go ahead and follow at Film Geek Dub. It's all dick pics all the time. Like 8 or 9 of them a day. Sometimes they're mine.
Dick Van Dyke.
Right. Oh, that's good. All right, I have a plan. Tomorrow, if you follow at Film Geek Dub, there will be all the dick pics you can have.
I'm looking forward to this.
Time to Google Michael Fassbender. All right, I'm going to log off now before I say
Huey Lewis.
All right, good night, everyone.